It's truly amazing what people online can accomplish with no budget. From the goriest animations of animated versus animation, to the fantastic smoothness of multiple stop-motion animators out there, to the cleanness of Osro's Flash animations, or those Star Wars and Transformers animated shorts, to horror works like Wave and The Back Rooms. What people can accomplish when they put their minds to it is amazing. And then you have what happens when people come together to join hands and collectively give up. Video Brinquedo is not the poster boy of that concept. There are other companies like the Asylum and Sparkplug Entertainment just as guilty as being the kind of people to walk in at work and then backflip to their car and drive home immediately. But Brinquedo is the one that I actually wanted to look at and rank Solo film of, because while movies like Atlantic Rim and A Car's Life sure are infamous, I think Brinquedo has a unique reputation amongst them. Asylum puts out so many shitty mockbusters that more people marvel at the names and posters than actually sit down to watch the films, and Sparkplug is mostly just known for that one movie series. Brinquedo, on the other hand, is infamous for so many of these things. Little Panda Fighter, What's Up, Little B, they have an aura that the others can't match. They are the Gojo of the team of fraudulent masters. And this is going to be the most painful ranking of films on the entirety of YouTube until someone decides to up and rank all 100 plus Asylum Mockbusters. Godspeed to whoever has it in it to do them. Get me to 50,000 subscribers at the end of the year and I'll consider doing it myself. But let's get started ranking all of the Video Brinquedo movies. And this will be in reverse order, so best first. So it's only going to get worse with every entry. But before you skip the ad sponsor, you should know that I have animated this with the exact same budget as the average Video Brinquedo film.
My name is Prince Unoptimal Insufficient. I am here to order some G Fuel, the sponsor of this thing.
Hello, my name is Remo. I'm here to offer you some G Fuel, your all-in-one plant-based energy formula.
Precisely.
I am Ping. Be prepared to experience the sound of lightning when you drink the formula consisting of 0 carbs, calories, or sugars. Everybody has been karate combating.
Hello everybody, I'm from C-Movie. Did you know that G Fuel contains antioxidants but also caffeine, making it something children under the age of 18 shouldn't drink? Hey man, you a fan of blues?
It is also something to be drunk responsibly, unless you want to have the hydration range. In which case, one shall drink, one shall enjoy the flavor without the caffeine in it.
It also comes in tubs or cans. Hey, wait, why am I here?
And if you head to the link in the description and use code BLOODRIGHT, you may get 20% off of your order.
Yes, which G Fuel did you want to get?
Oh no, I'm gonna use the link in the description now, actually.
It seems we're in worse shape than I thought, Autobots.
In 1909, Christian anarchist Elbert Hubbard wrote in Literary Digest, "A genius is a man who takes the lemons that fate hands him and starts a lemonade stand with them." And Gladiatormers 2 is a movie that takes the lemons that fate gave it and squeezes the juice directly into its mouth, tosses the leftovers aside, and ignores the lemon tree growing near its home. That is to say, it does something, but that doesn't mean it's good. Gladiatormers 2 is really annoying. It's one of the only movies to not have an English dub, which sucks, so I think more people should get to see this one. Not because it's good, but because with the amount of people who stomach these Brinquedo films, they could at least be watching a movie that tries. This, more than any other Brinquedo movie, feels like a victim of low budget instead of a movie aiming to have a low budget. This movie has a story, it has progression, it even has character development and arcs for some of its characters. It follows on the story of the previous movie in a pretty cool way, and actually does something with the characters that the first movie never tried. The movie is about a protagonist so delusioned with fighting that to get him to continue entertaining the rich upper class that own this world, they capture his girlfriend and force him into combat. He comes across as former nemesis but is able to convince him to help. And over the course of the movie, they undergo hardships, are forced to kill their former friends, fight off armies, and rekindle their long-lost friendship. Explaining it does make it sound way better than it is, but trust me when I say this movie is actually kind of fun. The first Gladiatormers you'll see I don't absolutely hate either, but it has problems with its repetition and choreography. This movie makes every fight unique and has some choreography going on. Characters actually strategize and plan their attacks at times. There's some cool effects, there's attempts at cool shots, there's an effort to make it genuinely cool. There's a 1v1, a 1v1 that isn't included, a 2v2, a 2v army, and a 2v kaiju. There's a car chase battle, there's gunfighting, there's action shit, the characters have personalities and interactions, the music is awesome as fuck, the stock footage is used better and more sparingly, there aren't as many extended sequences of the characters just talking in vehicle mode. In fact, this movie actually uses their ability to transform for the plot by having the main characters drive around to get the places quicker. And as I said, a car chase fight. The movie is kind of a movie. This movie had effort. Dare I say there was an attempt made with this. This is a movie that wants to be more than it's allowed to be. It wants to be a movie about lost friendship brought back stronger, about a great man forced to do bad things for the person he loves, about the value of working together. But it's still a Brinquedo movie. The animation is horrible, even if it's probably the best looking film they've done in terms of being cool adjacent. Voice acting could use some work, and there's a lot of pacing and dialogue problems that betray the intention of scenes. For instance, there's this one scene with the heroes, Julius Drive and Magnum Tudor, regretfully saying that they have to kill their friends Dante Logos and Morajati. They don't want to, but they won't be allowed to go forward if they don't, and if they're not fast, one of the only female gladiatorformers left on the planet could be killed. It should be an emotional scene, but it's just rushed too fast and the dialogue doesn't sell it. That and the ending has Magnum Tudor go, "Anyway, fuse with me." And then Julius fuses with him, beats the bad guy, finds out his girlfriend isn't there, and swears revenge when the movie finishes. Dare I say there should have been a Gladiatorformers 3. If it improved on this one the same way this one improved on the first, we could have had like a D-list Illumination tier movie. Gladiatorformers 2 is the only Brinquedo movie I could see myself watching again. It's actually kind of fun. No matter what ends up being said in this movie, Brinquedo can enjoy the title of perhaps the only mockbuster company in human history to have made a mockbuster that's actually more enjoyable than the movie it's based on.
It's time for a Robo Death Battle!
In 2006, a video game simply known as Sonic the Hedgehog released. What many call an atrociously buggy mess with a terrible story, and you all know the story. But for as bad as it is, everyone had one thing they agreed on unanimously. At least the music was good. A sentiment shared for 2007's Gladiatorformers Less Than Should Exist. The most mindless movie, maybe of all time. But of all of Brinquedo's works, one that I could actually see a child sitting and watching, then growing up to see this as their like, it's shit but I still like it because I watched it when I was a kid movie. This movie tells the most simplistic story you can get. A bunch of sentient robots are turned into slaves and set to fight one another in a gladiatorial death ring. Including our hero, the betrayed Prince Regent Julius Drive. There's the one who betrayed him but was tricked into also falling into this ring, Magnum Tudor, and none of the other characters matter. The film is made up entirely of 7 fights, most of which are extended shots of vehicles talking, then probably the least shit stock footage sequences of the company, and then a bad fight with sound effects too quiet to hear that are at least kinda fun. Don't mistake me as saying this movie's good, but I kind of got some enjoyment from them. They're very simplistic and mind-numbing, but at least compared to the usual mind-numbing and then this action-adjacent thing happens sequences that Brinquedo puts out, there are some things that do happen visually. The fights are bad, but they have a degree of charm. Some characters get power-ups randomly, some drain each other's power, some talk the opponent into submission then backstab them. There's actually some personality to be found in bits and pieces. And for as clunky as the dialogue is, there's almost some actual content here. We get some general ideas of the world. It's the only Brinquedo film with what I'd call a police witness sketch of world building in it. We get to learn these gladiatorformers are built that have the potential to reproduce naturally somehow if more females are found. That's an almost interesting idea. An artificially built species that wants to be able to become a real species that's self-sustaining, not through building themselves in place of their creators, but finding a way to emulate organic reproduction. And the music slaps. Angra is not the most A-listed bands out there, but they sure do some good stuff. Not my favorite Brazilian metal band, that's probably either Crisian or Sepultura, but definitely not bad. It helps make some of these action scenes actually exciting, and is a testament to what good music can do to enhance a scene. Or in this case, make a scene. I wouldn't recommend Gladiatorformers, but I wouldn't say it's a completely soulless and worthless experience. It's just a bad movie. Not the worst thing out there.
Where's the bee?
There's a bee?
In 1958, Chinese chairman Mao Zedong began the Four Evils campaign, a campaign to exterminate rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows. This led to a severe ecological collapse in the beginning of the Great Chinese Famine of 1959 to 1961. Even in the face of such extenuating circumstances, sparrows and rats may have been let go, but the campaign continued to attempt eradicating insects. And while it's not known why, it's highly speculated that the entire event was actually a successful propaganda campaign begun when the US forces showed a copy of The Little Bee to Chairman Mao. An absolute embarrassment of a movie, not because of how bad it is on its own. In fact, it's hilarious that Veronica fucking Taylor voices the protagonist, but because the reason it's so high on this list is because it has the bare minimum for a movie. A plot that progresses, a message that's not harmful, characters with individual traits and personalities. Like, those shouldn't be worth praising, but they are. The three main characters are bees, forced into roles they're not suited for, and do not want to do over their real passions. And as the movie goes on, they save the day and protect the hive against the evil Amogus Brigade by doing what they're good at instead of what they're told to. All while there's an admittedly really entertaining queen who does not know or do anything of value, and there's some amusing enough scenes. This should be the bare minimum, but for Brinquedo this is an important boon to have. The movie is coasting on the fact that it has fucking characters with personalities! And it's important to emphasize that, almost solely because I do not need to emphasize what it does wrong. Fucking look at it. The bees are tiny humans in bee outfits. The dialogue and humor is bad. There's two really bad musical numbers. The ending is really strange and feels oddly placed. There's a racist French stereotype, which thankfully is not going to be the last time Brinquedo hates the French. It'll be the one time it's not absolutely vitriolic though. But I don't know, for as much as it could suck, I don't absolutely hate it. So that's the end of the 2 out of 2 movies. In 1269 BC, Pharaoh Ramesses and King Hattusili III signed the Kadesh Peace Treaty, the oldest known peace treaty in history. And while historians have an idea on why it was signed, some actually believe it's because an individual went back in time and handed the two a copy of the Little Cars in the Great Race, resulting in a shared desire for your horrific torture and demise. Little Cars in the Great Race was the first Brinquedo film to have something resembling a proper plot. A car is turned on by another car and also likes racing. He goes on a date with the car who poisons the oil of the champion car, and so the champion car protagonist car would be out of a job, something or another, because fake Mater betted all their boss's money on champion car. Somehow this is solved by protagonist car. His name is Cruz, joining the race and winning it. Why does he win? Because the villain randomly slides over a set of tacks that are now on the floor for some reason and he dies. Then he gets taken to prison for poisoning champion car. Does this solve the fact that Cruz's boss doesn't have any more money? No, not at all, but somehow that problem is going to be solved anyway through the magic of power. Why did I say this as something resembling a plot? The movie is horrible, of course, but actually having a plot did elevate it above a lot of the other ones, as well as the fact that this is shorter than most, so...
Your odds are sinking faster than your parents on a cruise.
A few days before watching this movie, I ended up in the emergency room at a hospital. Now I won't say why because it's personal, but it didn't end up being too bad, and I was discharged after 2 days of sitting there. I had a big ass needle the size of my thumb stuck through my palm for over 19 hours straight, and I didn't know if I was going to need surgery or not. Luckily I didn't, and things went well. I did at least have a television for company. I got to watch some Beyblade, some Bakugan, and was even lucky enough for some Transformers Cyberverse, Season 3 at that. But I can assure you that if I had flicked the channel and watched Video Brinquedo's second film Rapunzel, I would never have improved enough to ever leave that room. Rapunzel is an absolute disaster of a production. It's not the absolute worst movie they've made, obviously, but god, it's bad. 48 minutes split between maybe 7 total scenes across 3 locations. The crazy thing is the base concept has potential. In this world, the fairy tale characters of antiquity are aware that they're stories. They have to live their life as predetermined because that's their fairy tale, but some choose not to and want to break away, to which evil Mrs. B forces them into correctional facilities to try and make them conform to society's desires. In this place we have Rap or Rapunzel and Cindy or Cinderella, who want to break away from the norms. Anyway, the story is just Rap does some music and there's 2 guys, I call them Red Guy and Green Guy, and Red Guy does music and he hears Rap and they approach each other and they fall in love. Oh no, she can't get him up to her and she doesn't want to use her hair. After all, she spent years making her hair completely useless for the original purpose as an act of rebellion against societal pressures. There's no way she'd immediately abandon her entire life's purpose just for the sake of some guy she only just met. You know, because doing exactly that is what she didn't want to do for her life. Oh no, of course, she does that. She just does that. And then Mrs. B shows up after a week of them violently butt-fucking on the facility beds, sends Rap into the Shadow Realm, and then Red Guy just finds her after a few days of running around and the movie ends. And like, by ends, I mean it just cuts to the 2 singing together as part of a, I guess, 2-person band, while Mrs. B is now a janitor because off-screen her facility got shut down by someone for some reason, and somehow she's somewhere she shouldn't be, and I don't know why this happened. This movie is also so fucked, like out of nowhere, Rap just has a microphone, there's the internet, there's a flashback to Rock Band being played with a Guitar Hero controller. What is this world? What is this movie? It's bad is what it is. It has 3 songs back to back that are not only bad, but also, I mean, look at it. This animation's horrible. It looks so goddamn bad. It's horrendous looking. But this shot of Rapunzel on one of the animators' adopted children's drawings is kind of hilarious. This movie is hilarious. It's so bad, but it's funny too. It's a hard watch, and if it were longer, I would have killed someone.
It wouldn't be inaccurate to assume that I couldn't exactly not say that is or isn't almost partial.
Talos is the name given to an ancient mythological statue of bronze primarily featured in the legends of the Argonauts. While it is often described that Talos was defeated by the crew, with the common variant being Medea pulled out a nail that kept him alive after driving him mad with drugs, this is actually a common misconception. In actuality, Princess Medea simply showed Talos a copy of Video Brinquedo's Pinocchio on Blu-ray and told him this is what the future of sentient statues would look like. Pinocchio was the first abortion of cinematic progress that Video Brinquedo willed into being through malice and a desire for human suffering. And it's certainly a little unfair to judge it when I can't understand what is being said. Neither dub nor sub exists for the movie, and while all the other ones that don't have dub or sub I just decided to not include, this one, I ended up watching before I realized that. Meaning I have nothing to go on but the fact that it tells a vague approximation of the story of Pinocchio, so butchered and horribly animated that Cardo Collodi has transformed into a Beyblade in his coffin. This is one of the worst animated movies I've ever seen, with every character being a handful of poorly drawn pieces tweened together in a way that only a 2-year-old could admire. It looks horrible, with almost no characters having any unique expressions and pretty much every single shot looking exactly the same. It's 50 minutes of essentially one long run-on sentence of a shot that has no style and no personality. It is a movie not just with no source, but with negative source. It is a source sponge of audio-visual happenstance. What else can be said? It's a movie that does nothing right. It does nothing even okay. When the guy with the fucking shotgun showed up, I thought he would blow Pinocchio's fucking head off, but even that wasn't given to me. I hate that the cricket's always grinning like that piece of shit. I'll kill you!
Precisely!
In ancient Greek mythology, the mighty demigod Heracles was forced into a state of madness by the goddess Hera, and sadly ended up slaughtering his family before he realized what had happened. While it's never specified what brought on this fit of madness, most anthropologists agree that it was likely a result of Hera forcing the hero to watch a DVD copy of Ratatouille. I'm stunned at how fucking horrible Ratatouille is. As a movie, it has a few advantages over some of the better ones, like that it has more of an actual plot, and no, that's about it. The problem is that the plot is not good. It's literally just this group of rats owns a restaurant where they steal their ingredients from people. Some other rats try to stop them by provoking the humans into setting rat traps. It doesn't work. And then like most of the movie is padding. For a movie that's not even a full hour long, it's just a whole bunch of talking. About what? Nothing in particular. Extended sequences of just characters saying how good the food is, and then the same stock footage sequence over and over again. And then like the entire main conflict, the cat that is there to kill the rats, is dealt with entirely off screen, with our loving hero showing up to go, and then I just gave it some food and it was happy with me. That's it. The antagonist, whose biggest crime was trying to stop our heroes from committing the crime of theft on humans, are then sentenced to the most fitting punishment any narc could get. That's right, just as it happened in high school, they were sent to inhumane scientific testing that would likely result in their unyielding agony and or experiment-induced death. The really annoying part of this is that the prior films had like stuff happening. Pinocchio had stuff going on, Rapunzel had point A and D and L, and even Little Cars had things. Ratatouille is a movie where nothing goes on. Rats talk about how good the food is, rats go to steal food and don't get much. Rats ruin stuff, rats fail to get food, rats succeed at getting food. The constant stock footage is bad, the attempts to make this rat sexy are bad, the jokes are bad. The only thing I like from this film is precisely because it's delivered so badly that it actually comes around to being funny. I just can't fathom who would sit down and go, we got a really bad script here, but we want a longer really bad script. And then someone else went, what if they just sat around talking about how good the food is? That's brilliant! And then they actually did it. An unrepentingly meaningless film, even by Brinquedo standards.
Chicken jockey!
Zhu Xiaodong is a Chinese MMA fighter known for challenging and defeating fraudulent martial arts masters. When questioned about his motivations, it came out that he was heavily moved by a bout of severe depression brought on by watching the film The Little Panda Fighter. I'm gonna be honest, this one is higher up than it should be because it is unintentionally really funny. Most notably, Pancada's dancing scene and that one moment where he randomly starts breaking it down next to a washing machine. Fucking wild. This movie, though, is just as bad as most of these, genuinely. In fact, it's worse than some of the films I've ranked below it, because it's entirely built around a fucking liar reveal plot point That does not matter, because by the time it gets revealed, the movie's over! The lie is that the polar bear boss beats up the boxing champion, but he has to wear a costume due to a contract he has. But it shrinks in the wash, so he looks like a panda, and everyone racistly assumed that because this is a panda, it has to be Pancada. And then Pancada, for no reason, decides that he should be the one to fight in the rematch, with only a week to train. And once the truth comes out, the polar bear just commits tax fraud and vanishes. Then Pancada, who has no ability to lead whatsoever based on what we've established, is now the boss. Pancada is motivated by his penis and his desire to fuck Honey, a random female thing who constantly verbally abuses him in the office. And then once she thinks he can fight, she starts fawning over him, kissing him constantly and talking about how hot he is and how she always loved him. And then nobody corrects her and it's not brought up past the halfway point. This movie also has pretty much no action as they keep cutting away with any fight, and as funny as Pancada just getting his shit pushed in despite the training montage could have been, it's not delivered as funnily as it could have been. Because of the sheer amount of problems and horrible points in this movie, it should be lower, but I do think the occasional funny moment is enough to make me think, yeah, I guess I'd watch this if I was forced to by a Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's all.
Hello, my name is Malice. Are you quite alright?
On the 25th of September, 1066, Stamford Bridge became the location of a titanic battle, commonly seen as the end of the Viking Age. The English attackers found themselves bottlenecked at the titular bridge, facing off against a single mighty Viking, who slew 40 men and delayed the army on his own. It's likely he would have been able to hold them off long enough for the Vikings to have regrouped on the other end and probably defend themselves, had he not been utterly defeated when the English rolled out a projector and subjected him to a fatal viewing of Video Brinquedo's Alice in Wonderland. By far the worst 2D film that I can actually watch. It's just bad! Being as it is just a direct, no-personality adaptation of Alice in Wonderland at 10 times the pace. It's horrible, with the worst animation I think they've pulled out so far, just because fucking look at it. It offers no even halfway interesting ideas like Rapunzel, it isn't absurdly hilarious at any time like Little Panda Fighter, it's not even got Greg Ratatouille in it. It's a movie that's so fucking droll and uninteresting. And yet despite that, it has the saving grace of the absolute nonsense it slowly devolves into. There comes a point where the movie stops being Alice in Wonderland. The Frog Prince shows up, the Cheshire Cat is the mayor of the world, there's a random bit where he tries to fucking kill Alice, and the movie just ends and she wakes up. Okay, well if they don't care how it ends, then I guess I don't either. This movie—
I have added your name to our kill list, though.
To your what?
Everyone knows that one Stephen Hawking quote, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. What few people know is the motivation behind this quote. As it turns out, the reason he said this is actually because one of his children showed him a copy of Tiny Robots, and Stephen immediately believed that if self-aware AI came to exist, it would never forgive us for this movie. And he was right. Tiny Robots is only 45 minutes and it feels like it takes hours. It's a movie that almost has some interesting ideas, like a world where humans lead themselves to extinction and robots take over. You know, like 9, but bad. And also it came out first. Wait, no, the short film was from 2005. But in the end, what it is a movie that tells us that alternative fuels are not to be trusted because actually, it'll just be the government leading us to our deaths by brainwashing us. You know, I feel like a good movie could take the premise this one has and make it into a movie about how the upper class will try to be what we want, but only in a way that benefits them. But that's not what it is. It's a movie that has long and boring narration telling us exactly what we can see just by using our eyeballs. And there's maybe 3 long and boring extended conversations. There's 2 extremely annoying comic relief characters, one in particular who never shuts up with bad robot puns that make me want to put a bathtub in my toaster, and then it ends. Sure, this movie actually has a plot, which not all these films have, but it's so bad. It's so boring and uninteresting. It's so flat. The characters have nothing but shit dialogue. It's only mildly amusing because the protagonist is voiced by Sonic the Hedgehog and just sounds like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't even know what more there is to say. This movie is so goddamn droll. And just look at it!
I may not have a brain, gentlemen.
In 1977, humanity received the best evidence of alien life we've ever gotten, the WOW signal. A strong, narrowband radio signal lasting 72 seconds that we have yet to find a reasonable explanation for. However, the truth is much less interesting than you might think. It's actually a formal declaration of war from an alien species that received a radio signal from Earth. A radio signal that at the time was unfortunately broadcasting a copy of Brinquedo's hit film Little and Big Monsters. This is a movie so viscerally unpleasant that I can genuinely barely look at it. Every character is hideous. Every scene is horrible, and every monster, little or big, is terrible. Look at this thing. Only half of it is ever moving at a time, and it's warping and woozing. They're squash and stretch, and then they're stretching my fucking patience. The movie's narrative amounts to the ultimate fraud who is also a scientist pretending to take out aliens one day, and then aliens turn up and he can't do that until he finds out they're weak to salt and then he beats them. That's it. Yes, there's a bit with a kaiju one due to sugar making it big, and there's peaceful aliens who keep these creatures as pets, but I'd be hard pressed to give a proper summation of the movie because it doesn't warrant one. It's an immensely unpleasant movie. I don't even want to talk about it. It doesn't have an actual plot like the tiny robots. It doesn't have Greg like Ratatouille. It's got nothing going for it. It's a movie that manages to set up a liar reveal plot, then have it dealt with in one sentence, never get brought up again, and then a monster gets shot and it's over. Genuinely, I have no idea what this movie is trying. This movie is nothing. What is this? What is this? I fucking hate this movie!
Everywhere you go, football. Go there, football. Football, football, football. Look, what the fuck?
Sports have long since been a part of human history, but there's a lot of history about it lost today. While you may assume the reason we only have so many records of ancient sports is simply due to the annals of time, the actual reason is that ancient monarch Charlemagne ordered all records of sporting events abolished and destroyed after stumbling into a theater showing the hit Brinquedo movie, Soccer Passion. Soccer Passion is the only truly unique and original video Brinquedo movie ever made. It's also home to the worst animation I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not exaggerating. One of my friends was producing animation that was smoother and less amateurish when he was 13. The animation is worse than the worst of web series like Death Battle, worse than the shit-ass Cinder Roof Run from Ruby. It's so bad that the only thing I can think to compare it to is fucking Paradigm Spiral, a show you probably don't know of and shouldn't know of. But even this fucking crap doesn't have characters completing their animations on completely blank color backgrounds with no set, and then remaining on screen for a full second after the movie has switched to the next shot. The final football game is one of the most hysterically horrible things I've ever watched. It's so bad that I feel bad that I ever insulted the animation of any of the other movies. It's so fundamentally and viscerally unpleasant to look at that I don't know what anyone was thinking. This is insane to me, because this is a Brazilian soccer film. I'm a German, and even I think those guys are insane about their fucking football. I would have thought this would be the Brinquedo magnum opus, for what little that would be worth, but instead it's their most spectacular fumble. And it's not just because the animation is horrible. It's not just that it manages to be uglier than even Little and Big Monsters, because instead of the entire world being equally shit, everything is different layers of blurry and ugly textures resulting in the most disgusting, grimy looking film ever. It's not just that every character has horrible black outlines and the most absurdly grotesque shading ever conceived. It's not just that everyone's emotions are fucking awful, but the movie is so goddamn boring. Like, so boring. The entire movie is 40 minutes of build-up to the big final football game. Meanwhile, all the characters just blubber on about nothing. There's no compelling drama, no compelling characters. Nothing happened. The characters are all bland, boring, and fucking annoying. The main football boy has some, mystic stuff going on that doesn't mean anything, and a relationship with a woman that he doesn't pursue because, in his words, he believes that like all women, she's going to just latch on to a wealthy man and leave him. And then there's a love triangle because of this other woman who he thinks is hot or something. They have a women's soccer game that's there. They try to do a Shaolin soccer by having the goalie get injured, and then a love interest woman takes his place. But instead of being a message about how applying who you are to what you do is how you succeed, your physical appearance does not define you, what makes you beautiful as much as who you are on the inside, and that being true to yourself is the ultimate path to happiness, the theme is, it's a thing that happens. Because the other team has a woman goalie, I think. The main villain is fucking horrible. He literally just has a random moment near the end of the film where he thinks to himself, and you hear him spell out in his mind why he's so mean, why he doesn't want to happen, and that he has a relationship with the main character's non-character of a coach, and then the movie ends with that coach going, "What if you weren't a jerk?" Duh, that's a crazy idea, I like it! And then they all live happily ever after! A truly one-of-a-kind garbage fest only Brinquedo could manage! What's Up, A Stroke to the Rescue is the pinnacle of garbage. It is, of all things, a sequel to the worst movie that Brinquedo had ever made up to this point. Now, almost all of Brinquedo's works, when not unironically having some decent stuff in them, at least have qualities I can see with my eyes. Like having characters with distinct personalities, or having a lot of ironic enjoyability to them. Ratatouille, for instance, is quite amusing at times, whether it's trying to or not, and even Little and Big Monsters has such prodigiously garbage animation that occasionally it is funny. But What's Up is just so unpleasant. It's so fucking boring, it's so fucking dull, there's almost no humor to be found, there's no so bad it's good, there's nothing of worth. The movie is so boring, it's the most boring of all Brinquedo films. There's no random monster that looks bad, no panda breaking it down like Omni-Man, no precisely, no fucking anything. This is a worthless experience of a movie, and worst of all, it's racist. In The Little Bee, there is a character who is a French stereotype. However, he is not one that I would call explicitly racist. He is a chef with a French accent who acts reasonably coward when attacked because he's not a warrior. It's not that bad. In this, however, there is a French stereotype who is referred to by a food related to his country, called Stinky because he's French, and has his accent made fun of. And then there's this guy. A Chinese stereotype to which every single line of dialogue directed towards him is somehow racist. Like, everyone. His opening fucking line is, "Fucking camera made in China." Okay, that's not literally what he says, but it might as well be. The guy is so blatantly stereotypical that Stephen He couldn't replicate him if he fucking tried to. What is this character? What the fuck, man? Most characters just call him China. They do nothing but throw stereotypes at him to his face, and he just sits there and takes it like a good little sweatshop worker. This man is so fucking patient that you could punch him in the face and take him 5 days to register it and try to hit you back. I genuinely believe that his brain is connected to the Wi-Fi signal, so everyone he talks to sounds like they're cutting out at perfect times. And you know, as a Chinese myself, imagine how it felt watching this. And man, even without the racism, this would still be like the second worst. I think Soccer Passion is worst in most ways, but this is still fucking down there. It's a movie where nothing happens, where the monster fighting is almost entirely off screen, and revolving around rules from the previous movie nobody watched that are not properly explained in this film. There is the most insufferable cast of cunts in movie history, and the fact that this cast has 2 films, while we could be living in a world where the cast of Transformers 1 never show up again, is fucking depressing. There is no excuse for this, or any of these movies to be so bad. There are web shows with budgets below $1,000, like the first season of Marble Hornets, that display masterful camera work, pacing, acting, and filming. There are animations made by one person in no time at all that look better. There are fan fictions I've read with better storytelling. Fuck Up the movie is so bad, so horrifically awful, so spectacularly terrible, I have nothing else to say. This movie is nothing else. I may as well have not watched a movie. I could have just pulled a Candle Cove and stared at the fucking static for 30 minutes, and I would have had a more engaging, thrilling, and entertaining film experience than this rancid piece of cock puke. This video may as well not have an ending if they're going to put this little effort into their overall movies. Goodbye. Hey everyone, this is actually my second time recording this because the first time, it didn't record. It did not record. And so I won't be able to go back through the fucking, like, just the Patreon things, because you won't be getting my real reactions to them, will you? I'll go back to one. That was the video Brinquedo ranking. I hope you enjoyed. It was a experience. To sort of explain a few things, because there might be some movies people are wondering, where is that? Any movie that's not included on this list by Brinquedo is one of either a compilation of episodes, so this would be the Little Bee sequels and the Little Cars sequels, and maybe a couple others that are just compilations of their like animated series that Brinquedo made, which exist. And if anyone's wondering where like a Cars Life is, that's not Brinquedo. That is I believe that one's Sparkplug. Will I rank every Sparkplug movie? Maybe. But so that's why. Oh, did I actually finish? No. The other reason is they're not translated. No sub, no dub. The only one I kept of those was Pinocchio because A, it's the first one, so it feels weird to not have it, and B, I thought it would be the only one, but there was stuff like Cinderella and Little Red Riding Hood, which no translation, could not understand what the hell's going on, and I just figured it's not worth 3 entries where I go, I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese. I don't know what the hell's going on. So, yeah, that's like a one and done bit. You don't do that every, like, 3 different ones, because it's exactly going to be the same thing. It's going to just be which one visually looks the least vomitorium adjacent. So that's where the missing movies would be. And if for anyone wondering, the end of this story is Video Brinquedo, I believe now going by like toy something vids. They no longer make Mockbusters. Their last one was there was one movie up the Soccer Passion, and it's one that it's one of the untranslated ones. I don't know what it means. It's like Bacanos, I think. No, it's about boats. It's about boats. But it's not translated, and it might even be a compilation of shorts while we're at it. There are a couple that's like both. Like, it's both untranslated and a bunch of shorts. I doubt they got fucking Ash Ketchum to voice the protagonist of Little Bee in all of the shorts. So, yeah. Now they make educational videos online, and I don't know if they're any good, because obviously I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese. I hope they are. I hope that Video Brinquedo's come to do better things in the modern day. You know, they've moved past this phase of being, and now they're on to doing better stuff. They're on to making content. Now, thank you to everyone scrolling by. You are a great help. It is always helpful just to get that extra bit of support, especially when, you know, my videos, they don't make, I don't get a shit ton of views, especially on stuff like this, which I really want to make more of. Please help this get views. Again, I believe, did I say in this one, is this the one where I said if I get 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year? Not happening. I'll rank all 100 plus Asylum Mockbusters. I will. I promise you, I will do that. Will I do it immediately? No. I will finish my big rankings, and I will make space for that. But if you get me there, I'll do it. Maybe I can do every comic book movie Mockbuster ranking at some point. That could be fun. You know, Avengers Grimm Time Wars, Avenging Force the Scarab, Almighty Thor, Amazing Bulk, Metal Man, Captain Battle, Thunderstorm, Rise of Thor, Rise of the Black Bat, there's 2 other Thor Mockbusters. 4 or 5 Thor Mockbusters out there. The other Asylum Thor movie, which is, it's certainly because Thor is not a copyrightable name. It is a figure of Germanic religion. He cannot be copyrighted. Or the name cannot. The figure obviously can. Like, the likeness and the design can be. But, you know. There's probably more that I'm just not thinking of that would qualify for this. But there's a couple, like, Superman Mockbusters out there. I know that. So maybe I could do that in the future if people are interested. But, yeah. Help spread this video. I want this video to do good. I want to do ranking the movie stuff like this, because it's fun. I enjoy doing it. But yeah, so the bottom line, thank everyone for supporting me. If you want to support me, there's a link in the description. You will get access to videos like this early, as well as access to my Patreon-only Discord, where normally you'd be allowed to make me say any random bullshit at the end of a video. But as I said, I already went through this, and the thing just did not record. So I'm only going to go back through the ones that I particularly liked, or I guess the ones that were more than just the reaction that it got from me immediately. So there's this one. And the interesting thing for this one that I noticed is, why is Donovan cloth? Because if I remember correctly, with my intricate Mr. Donovan lore, cloth is mid-tier to him in terms of crab Pokemon. Like the Pokemon crustaceans, the crustacean mons, if you would. He doesn't dislike it, because I think the only one he actively dislikes is Crabominable, the goat, ironic. And Cloth is, I think it was like a C tier on his tier list. Did he come around to it? Did he come to dislike it later? I want to know the lore behind this decision, Don. And this one, you know, the only one that actually pertained to the video topic at hand. I gotta do it. Precisely! and then this one. How could I not? This is a classic Raymanism. Probably the most iconic, along with Soup Noodles. It is peak Rayman content. If we were to do a tier list, this would be S tier. S tier Rayman moment. It's magical. You know, it's like every word somehow is wrong. You know, the eel, he's referring to a steak there. The no, he is saying no to steak. And not for any, like, he's not vegan or anything. He eats steak, as clearly shown later. He says, you microwave steak. First of all, there's no punctuation present. There's no full stop. But also, he is accosting the person he's talking to of microwaving steak. But the way he's saying it implies that he's saying you as a collective, like you people, you're supposed to, is the implication. You're supposed to microwave steak, which is some of the most confident and proud words ever said that were just wrong. You know, it takes a lot of inner strength to so proudly enunciate these words, to put it out there that you are incorrect, and then you don't grill steak. Now, the other implication here is that the only ways to cook a steak are microwave and grill, which is just not true. Now, would I do it any other way? No, I would grill a steak. He's also implying this refers to all forms of steak, so also a pork steak, a fish steak. These are things you can call steak, even if colloquially you would generally only refer to beef steak when saying this. There are places that refer to certain fish and pork dishes as steak. So he's basically blanket cup. I'm overanalyzing this. He's just an idiot. But you know, that place wouldn't be nearly as fun without someone to mock. I must sound like a huge asshole with that context. Don't worry, it's all good. It's all in good fun. So yeah, that is that. Just those three I wanted to bring up, because there were a few skeleton ones in there, but you want to get my reaction from it. Sorry about that. Normally this doesn't happen, where, you know, the fucking mic just doesn't work. But hey, we're past that. We're here now. Thank you everyone supporting me. Thank you everyone watching. I'll see you next time for either the Barbie ranking, which I said is happening. You know it's happening. I'm in the middle of editing it too. Or whatever death battle comes out next. You know, it's going to depend which I get done first and when. So I'll see you then. Have a good one, folks. And yes, when the Barbie ranking's done, I will try to get on that iceberg. The next iceberg, but I'll try to get it done. Okay? Don't worry, we got 4 months until October. I'll try to get the iceberg out by then. So I'll see you then. Goodbye, folks. And yes, if you saw my post, you'll know I'm also aiming to do another analog horror video. So if you're lucky, 2 horror videos for October. I love doing horror content. I just don't get to enough. But yeah, hopefully I'll get the iceberg and the analog horrors done with any luck. So I'll see you then. Have a good one, folks. Take care.